was because it was clear that everybody was watching.
And you couldn't do anything.
My younger brother pushed it a lot.
Oh, so how many brothers and sisters do you have? How many brothers and sisters do you got?
I didn't push it.
But how many siblings did you have?
So
do you have?
Three. So I'm the oldest of three. My brother's 3 years younger than I am, and my sister's 4 years younger than I am. And they had a well, like all younger siblings. So I think there's a real advantage to having an older brother or a sister, because you're watching your older sibling make all the mistakes that every firstborn makes. And
see, now you didn't even have to bring that part up. You didn't even have to bring that part up. I'm one of 6, and my older sister, God rest her soul, and then it's me. And we have 2 brothers. We have 2 brothers and 2 younger sisters. And when you're a middle child, like I am, you know, you kind of don't get a lot of play because this is my oldest. These my 2 boys. Yeah, I love my son. These my 2 babies. I'm like, well, Mom, what about me? Yeah, you.
Yeah,
and so making my way, my sisters and brothers, oh, my God, they would tell you in a minute, she was the worst child ever. And they learned everything from me not to do. Because when you say your brother pushed the envelope, I didn't even realize I was pushing the envelope, you know. And my mother would say, I am not coming out there in the world finding you dead in the gutter someplace. And I went, well, Mom, I don't fool around with people who would have me dead in a ditch. Okay, I didn't say it. I wanted to keep living. But the look was like, I'm going to tell you this, Alpha, and I can't, to this day, I cannot wear a watch. You could put a Rolex on me, a $25,000 Rolex. If it's on me for more than 10 minutes, I'm going to shut that sucker down. And I found out I have a bad disadvantage with quartz, what they put all in the chips and everything. I have to hold my phone out like this. So I thought I had a superpower. She told me, you ain't got a bigger superpower than I do, because I'm your mother. I brought you here, and I'll take you out. And I believed her. She carried a loaded 38 in her purse. I'm like, Mama, why you got a loaded gun? She said, because y'all too big for me to whoop. And we were stair-stepping. There were 7 years between my older sister and my younger sister. And she said, because if I have to pop a cap on one of y'all, I'm just going to shoot all of y'all, and they're going to take me to the morgue. They're going to take me to the nutty house, so I'm just going to be in the crazy house. Like, go ahead, try. She got real deep. My mother was deep. I thought she was the stupidest person in the world till I turned 18.
Yeah, so what point did your mother get smart?
Oh, I like the way you put it. What point did your mother get smart? Because you was the stupid one. When I had turned 18. I was in college. I turned 18, and all the stuff that she would tell me about how to conduct myself as a woman, how to keep myself protected, that there were going to be predators out there who give a less than a flying crap about me. She made sure we had the details. She made sure that we were, we could take care of ourselves. And I was like, so, Mom, why you got to go? She said, if I shoot one of y'all, I'm going to shoot all of y'all. And so my sisters and brothers would say, why don't you just shut up? Why you got to keep talking? You know Mama crazy, boy. And I literally had to come home from school.
Our parents do get smarter as we get older.
Isn't that something? Wait a minute. Do you walk past the mirror and you go, I look just like my dad. I look just like my mother. Good Lord, what didn't happen? And you realize they are warriors. They put their footprints down and are willing to get on the ground and put us on their shoulders so we could see farther than they could. And that's so important. And if you believe in the Bible, Scripture tell you, and people get this messed up. Scripture says, honor your mother and father so your days are long. Not their days are long, so your days are long. Because you get stuck on stupid with your parenthood, life is going to be a whole lot worse for you when you don't honor the people that you come from. And my mother been dead since the 1900s, and I'm still scared of her. Because they put that.
You're still remembering your mother and thinking about your mother and honoring your mother.
And my father and all my sisters.
Relationships are everything in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
They totally shape us. And we carry those lessons through our lives. There's no question. And it's so, I think one of the reasons for the love that people love Little House so much is because Michael Landon and Karen Grassley projected a kind of a dignity and a love in parenting that so many people who didn't grow up with that
miss that,
touch that, or see that and experience that through them. Okay, they were just watching them on television, but they got to model behavior that was good behavior, thoughtful behavior, well-considered, generous, decent. And though if there's any question about, and I think people fundamentally know, I think we have a little voice in our head that tells us what's good and what's not good, what's right and what's not right. I think you just sort of know intuitively. I think we have that. I think we feel it. And Michael and Karen presented that in a beautiful way. In
a family way. And as we were talking earlier, most of the people that I would have to say 99% of the people that I grew up with, the mother and the father were in the home. Our father died when I was 9 years old, and my mother refused to get married again. She's like, oh, no, it's going to have your daddy's name on my tombstone. I'm telling you right now, I'm not going to do that. And she never remarried. She was a widow at 30 with 6 small children, and she was fierce. Our mother was fierce, and she spoke the truth, and she was tough enough to say, you know how kids come to you, go to your mom and your dad, you say, well, what about us and so? And they go, well, you don't need it. Go ask your mama about that. Go ask your daddy about that. She would say to us, I don't know that, baby. Let's go find out. And we would walk to the library in the snow. She gave us a great love of reading. What are some of the good qualities that you stand on right now that came from your upbringing?
Well, I think trying to be, doing my very best to be, always trying to be honest with people and be an honest person, not be a deceptive person. I think, and you said it earlier, some of us have it on our face. It's like, I'm never going to be a good poker player. It's just not, I think whatever is going on with me just sort of flows right out. So I think I learned early to be pretty straightforward about what I was doing so that I didn't have to have a lot of stories that I had to remember telling a lot of different people. And that's not the way of operating. Look, it's not that I haven't been careful about saying certain things at certain times, but generally, on an overarching way, being straightforward and being direct has been a very good thing for me. I think I learned very early on from my parents and my grandparents the value of family. That was a very big deal. My grandfather used to say that you don't necessarily, and we had a large family. I was around a large family, multi-generational family, a lot. And he would say to us that, okay, your family, they don't all have to be your favorite people. It would be nice if they were, but they don't have to be. But you will respect them. You will respect them because they are your family. He really lived by that old adage that blood is thicker than water. He really believed that family connection was a unifying thing, that the relationship that you have with a certain group of people that you don't have with anybody else, regardless of how many friends you have and the people you know and all that. We all can know lots of different people, but very few of those people are really your family. And that family requires, as I was raised, a level of respect and honoring that, and again, it doesn't mean everyone had to be your favorite person, but they were your family. And I learned very early on that I was to respect and honor my family, and that's been a really good.
And especially the elders. It wasn't like I couldn't even imagine talking back to a teacher or somebody in the church, or I couldn't even imagine it, because when I grew up, they were like, they pop you real quick. Don't what you stand here for? And this one, you stay in a child's place. That's what I got all the time. Stay in a child's place.
But mother loved my mother. I remember you just brought up something that I remember very distinctly. Now, my mother told me that I had to respect authority. And I was told very early on that if there was a question about my behavior, if there was my version of what happened and the teacher's version of what happened, I should absolutely count on the fact that it was the teacher's version of what happened that was going to be the controlling point of view about what happened. So that told me right away, there's no slip and slide here. I'm not going to be able to play somebody off use my parents as a way.
Oh, no. Because, you know.
They were going to listen to that teacher, and then they might listen to what I had to say. But
I like what you said. They might listen to what I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was very locked in, and because of that, I wasn't looking to play the angles or edges and sort of play people against each other. I was raised to take things as they came at me at pretty much at face value. I mean, this is what someone's telling me. I'm going to accept that until I find out for whatever reason.
There's a reason not to.
That's not a good thing. But my inclination is to accept and go on. Now, that may not always serve you the best.
Right.
There are people who are going to not tell us the truth. And we have to be, at some point, we have to be willing or able to make discerning judgments about what's coming at us. But in the beginning, when we're young, I think it's just incredibly important to be able to feel like you can trust the authority figures around you.
Yeah.
Now, if we can't trust those people, I think that's very damaging.
And it's extremely damaging. And unfortunately, there are so many predators out here who will prey on these young girls and boys who they know what they're doing. Who know that, let me go get that one. That one's vulnerable. Somebody's leaving her by herself. Why is he over there in the corner by himself? And sometimes you have to just step out of your comfort zone and say what is right and what is wrong. And as a child, there were oftentimes that my mother had to say to other adults when they would say, "You shut up. You don't get to talk like that." And I would say, "Well, Mama, that ain't her husband. I think that ain't her husband." And she would say, "Baby, just be quiet, just be quiet." And because she said, "No, that is not her husband," or "That's not his wife," or the first time I saw two men kissing, or two women hugging and kissing, I'm like, "Why they can't do?" She was like, "Oh, Lord." Then I'm coming in with a whole nother set of issues that they need to explain to me. And what I found out is by me getting into so much trouble and asking so many questions, it really helped my brothers and sisters understand we're not doing that crazy stuff, because she is just out there in deep third.
See, sir, I think you, boy, Mother Love, you bring up lots of really interesting issues.
So you know why you say that? Let me tell you why you say that, Dean. Because you're easily entertained. Hey, the truth. You like the truth.
I really like what you just said about kids asking questions. I feel very fortunate, and it sounds like you had this too, where your mother she may say, "This is not the right time to answer."
Right. Will you get out of my head with my mom? You said it verbatim.
She would. It sounds like your mother would ultimately answer your question.
She always did.
My mother would always answer my question at the appropriate
time.
And so she really demystified a lot of things for me. And I think something that's very, it's not across the board nothing's across the board in our culture, but we hear a lot today about parents who don't want their children to hear different things.
History. They don't want to hear history.
That's coming at them.
I mean, could you imagine? I mean, let me ask you this. Because being an alumni of one of the most beloved television shows in history from Little House on the Prairie, I told you I was going to run away from home and come to the set wherever you were, and I was going to marry you. And she was like, "They not going to let your behind up on the set." I'm like, "Why? Why can't I have a pretty boyfriend like him?" And we were all in love with you. I want to get your take on being an adult and being able to make sure that the character Melissa Gilbert played Laura Ingalls, that she felt safe, because she was 15, 16 when you came on to be her love interest.
Right.
What was that like? Because if you try that now, you know what they're gonna do. You're gonna be up under the jail. You guys were ahead of your time.
My answer to that is, the short answer is, we had to be very careful and respectful.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the